You're going to love this. Trust me, what you're seeing now is my normal state.
Welcome, I'm Spaghetti King, and this is Kidnapped by a Loving Yandere Cultist by Selude ASMR. Thankfully she says her name so I can just, recite it. This is a part 1 and part 2 video. They are for the most part in quite commonality between each other, but I would definitely recommend watching part 1 to part 2. Thankfully, the progression in these is very simple to summarize because you pretty much just change location twice per audio, which is really good if you're first watching it because, it's easy to keep track of. But it starts with you laying some daffodils in front of a grave, and mourning for... I'm not sure, actually. I don't know who you're mourning for. I don't think that's ever mentioned. It's just called your person. So, I don't know who you're mourning for. You're mourning for who you want to mourn for. With some daffodils. And, this woman comes across. Apparently she's wearing a sundress, so, that does trigger some things in me, I'll admit to that. But, she walks up and she, greets herself to you. And she mentions pretty early on that there's likely some kind of destiny to meeting her in the cemetery, because apparently she doesn't meet anyone there very often. But to summarize the progression, easier, because, when I'm reviewing a multi-part audio, I tend to summarize it more simply and quickly. Basically, you go on for a little walk around the cemetery for a bit, then she, knocks you out and puts you into a mausoleum, she claims? I'm not sure where this mausoleum is, by the way. I'm not sure if it's, also in the graveyard. It seems like it is. It seems like it's in the same location, but it just seems kind of weird that she could, hit you with, a shovel or something in the back of the head. You pass out, and then she just takes you to some, bunker? I mean, I don't know. I guess she has it. I guess she's, she's been around the place, so she just knows. But, that's how it goes. And, she has you chained up. And, she says, oh, well, keep calm, And she does bring up an interesting point. She says, basically, pain without acceptance is suffering. So, she says, accept the situation, it's natural, it's normal. It's okay. I understand why you'd be frightened, but you need to stand above that. You need to be more than that. So it is interesting, these concepts she's bringing up, because there are a couple interesting things in this audio. I mean, number one is, again, concepts she brings up like that, these kinds of, principles. Then there's, historical kinds of things that she talks about. In the case of this graveyard itself, or cemetery, I should say. Is there a difference between a graveyard and cemetery? I don't think there is. Maybe there is. But, and then there's just her acting itself, which is really good. She's very good at making this character sound, endearing and honest in what she thinks to you. Very much like the character actually, loves you a lot, and appreciates you a lot. And is actually deranged in this way to be doing these things that are practically hurting you, but not really understanding. But the first one still ends with you in that situation where you're kind of under, and it's not until the second one where you actually leave the mausoleum place. And she says that you've become a better person, you've learned to look into the abyss, and, look back, and you've kind of matured. And she does give you some compliments along the way. She says, I have broad shoulders, which is true. And, whatnot. She says I'm perfect. She gives me these compliments. They are appreciated. But from there, you know, starting off in the second one, you go through this ritual thing. Not really a ritual in a practical sense, but whatever she's doing for you. I shouldn't say for you. I mean, to you. I mean, this doesn't really seem like a great situation. And then you basically walk out. You walk out with her into the graveyard again, and you go on a little bit of a. You have a little bit of a discussion. You know, she talks about how, you know, couples who are buried together is an adorable sight, you know, because they're together forever. You know, yeah, that's definitely wholesome, I'll admit to that. More on that later. But she says that you're going to another grave, so you keep walking for a while. And then eventually, you reach that location, and I was gonna say she knocks you out again. She doesn't knock you out again. It just kind of takes a while because she gives you she gives you some philosophies on things, like on graveyards themselves. Actually, she goes over a point where a lot of people tend to avoid cemeteries because of bad connotations. But it's a place where there's a lot of history and a lot of things to learn and see and whatnot. And, you know, she appreciates that now we go together and, you know, we're together forever. And we're already holding hands, apparently, you know, so she's all, you know, tingly about it, I'm sure. But, you know, eventually we reach this place she wants to show me. And she says there's a crypt there, originally. Then once you get there, she just says there's a coffin there. So I assume those are the same object. But you get there and you get this coffin, and she shows you what's in the coffin. And as she says, apparently all there is a skeleton in the coffin. So she just opens up the thing, nice little sound effect when it opens, and then there's just a skeleton. And, you know, she says that, you know, normally you notice that this skeleton has fangs, apparently. So maybe it's like a vampire or something, I don't really know. Maybe he just, you know, sharpened his teeth on a regular basis. But, you know, she says usually you appreciate the ribs of a skeleton, how they, you know, bend toward and whatnot. And that's true. I am someone very noticeable of you know, skeleton ribs. You know me well. But, yeah, you know, if a skeleton had fangs, that would be pretty disturbing on top of disturbing, because skeletons usually just, you know, give you surreal intimidation to begin with. But, I mean, literally, you are kind of just intimidated for a bit, and then, in the first one, you end up kind of going to sleep in the situation you were in, where you were chained up still, right? And at the end of this one, you go to sleep with her in this coffin. I mean, she had you suck in a spirit, like breathe in a spirit in the last one, and this one you kind of just, I guess, sleep with the skeleton? I hope you don't sleep with the skeleton. But you go with her into this coffin, and then you just will awake eventually. And that's how it goes. That's literally, that's what it is. And kind of inconclusive, but definitely surreal, definitely strange, definitely off-putting. But anything else to talk about is the fact that when you see the skeleton, she does mention that dead people are actually the most peaceful, which is a bit of the misinterpretation of the living. You know, the dead will not harm you like she did to me, and, you know, whatnot. Initially, you struggle to going into this coffin, and she has to pull out a knife and says, "Oh, I'll stab you if you don't do it." So, yeah, this is kind of a disturbing situation, but again, her acting sells it, because she sounds literally like devoted to this, honestly believing in this. And I love that effect. I love that a lot. Very good. But yeah, that's the scenario. A good combination, because she sounds like an intelligent person. She doesn't sound like deranged, you know what I mean? She sounds like she legitimately believes in what she does, and she has reason to, but she's deranged outside of her own outside of herself, you know what I mean? It's something only someone from the outside would see in this situation, and you having this done to yourself. And in the context of you listening to ASMR, it would be off-putting, and it was when I was thinking about it in context. And it was really good. So, I mean, yeah, like, there's really not much to talk about in terms of motivation, because her motivation is actually incredibly simple. In fact, that doesn't really develop much. Her feelings for you, pretty much after she meets you, are basically, like, established very cleanly and very quickly. Which I liked. It doesn't always need to be... it can be kind of quick, and it was in this case. It kind of just fires off. Maybe because she's kind of a recluse person. But, yeah. Really the only positive parts about this is when she gives you, like, compliments, which usually are quite humbling. But then she'll do something like torture you or something, or something similar, so... yeah. I can recommend this, you know, if you can take some edge, and you like the scholarly angle about it, because this is a Yandere cultist, so, you know, she's into that esoteric stuff, I can recommend. Yeah, so that's all I have to say on that. So, okay, yeah, that's a basic summary, so alright. Okay, so for the first one, the rating, audio 5 out of 5, wholesome rating 4 out of 5, overall rating 9 out of 10, rank legend. And for the second one, audio 5 out of 5, wholesome rating 3 out of 5, overall rating 10 out of 10, rank legend. So I highly recommend both, highly recommend them back to back, because the second one literally starts literally where the first one picks off, so I recommend both back to back. Very good. Selude ASMR. Now, last thing I would have to mention about Selude, I mean, there's the art. Art is pretty simple. You have this girl, pink hair, doing a heart symbol on that. Quite a nice grin on her. I think she has fangs, actually. Now, it's an anime kind of art style. Selude traditionally was not actually doing that. She had a kind of a different thing. She had like a realistic girl, more of a white girl kind of look, for lack of a better term. And now I guess she uses anime art, which, you know, to appeal to the weebs, you know I appreciate it, because I think I might have been subbed to her before, I just wasn't watching her content because the thumbnails weren't catching me as much, and, you know. I'll admit, it caught me. Okay, look, I see anime girl, and that is what pushes me. I think I had seen a couple of her videos before, but yeah, I'll admit, you know, we need to be honest about these things. This is the truth. So, you know, it's how it is. But anyway, that's just a minor point, I would say. Because there was that, what was it, like, Mafia Girl thing she did just a little bit before this one. That is, like, ridiculously good. That one is so well scripted. That's one thing I didn't mention, actually. The script on this is excellent. The writing of the script, the way the words used, literally the vocabulary, and the performance of it is sublime. The script is great. So, yeah, that's what I have to say on that. So, highly recommend. Thank you for watching. I'm Spaghetti King. I love you all, and farewell.